This manhwa is a really good read. If you are a manhwa fan or just looking for your next binge-worthy obsession, you are in the right place. These 10 manhwas will keep you hooked from start to finish. Whether it's unique story plot twists, gorgeous art, or unforgettable characters, they have got it all. But before I begin, subscribe and like the video. Number 10. Kali the Champion. This one follows Park Kang-tae, a guy who had to give up his dream of becoming a boxer to join a gang. But when he gets killed, he's given a second chance in a world where boxing exists as a pugilist game. Now, Kang-tae is determined to pursue that unfulfilled dream and become the champion. The early seasons of this manhwa are absolutely blast. The fighting scenes are pulse-pounding, the characters are super engaging, and the relationship between the main duo is just pure gold. Sure, the tone makes a bit of a turn in the later seasons, but trust me, this is still a Muri manhwa worth checking out. If you're craving for some action, endearing characters, and a protagonist who will have you punching the air with excitement, Kali the Champion is the manhwa for you. It's a hidden gem that deserves way more love, so do yourself a favor and give it a read. Number 9. Hero has returned. This one starts off with a bang, as we meet Min-soo Kim, a powerful warrior who's just returned from saving another world. But instead of becoming welcomed home with open arms, Min-soo finds that he's lost everything. So what does he do? Well, he decides to unleash his wrath and tries to destroy the world he used to call home. In his rampage, Min-soo ends up killing a teenager named Jeong-soo Park and his family. But here is the twist. Instead of dying, Jeong-soo gets transported to an alternate world where he becomes a warrior himself. After defeating the Demon King, Jeong-soo comes back to Earth with revenge on his mind, ready to take on the very hero who killed his family. With a unique premise, complex characters, and some jaw-dropping action sequences, Hero Has Returned is a manhwa that will keep you guessing until the very end. If you are craving for something little different, this is definitely one to check out. Number 8. Hero Killer. In this world, it's a constant battle between gifted heroes and villains, but one lone girl is about to turn that whole system on its head. Driven by a thirst for revenge against the injustice of society, she sets out on a path, taking down heroes and villains alike. The premise is super intriguing. It's got shades of The Boys with the corrupt hero establishment. But I have got to be real, this one is a bit of a mixed bag. The action and art are undeniably top-notch, but the character development and emotional investment can be a bit lacking. Still, if you are in the mood for a dark, unforgiving take on the superhero genre, Hero Killer might just hit the spot. Just brace yourself for some heavy stuff, because this one doesn't pull any punches. Overall, it's an interesting read, but maybe not the one I would recommend to the faint of heart. Number 7. The Outcast is too good at martial arts. Mugyeol Cha, your average high school student who is constantly getting bullied by a group of delinquents. Meanwhile, in a completely separate life, Mugyeol is a skilled mixed martial artist who meets an untimely demise. But somehow, these two very different lives end up merging into one body. And now, Mugyeol has to navigate this new reality, where he's got the skills of a top-tier martial artist but has to deal with all the usual high school drama. It's a wild ride, my friends, filled with exciting fighting scenes, heartwarming character moments, and a protagonist you can't help but root for. Sure, the story might not be the most original, but the execution is absolutely on point. The art is gorgeous. If you are craving some school manhwa that balances badassery MC, The Outcast is too good at martial arts is definitely one to check out. Number 6. Bake XX. Here is the story. We have got these two twin brothers, both leading very different lives. One is an elite HID agent, while other runs a major syndicate in Seoul. When the agent decides to ditch his identity and take on his brother's role, things start to get complicated. Now I'll be real with you, this manhwa isn't perfect, the pacing can be a bit slow at times, and the author has a tendency to get a little too caught up in the backstories of every single character. So, if you are in the mood for a manhwa that really plays with the idea of who the good guys and bad guys are, give Bake XX a shot. Just be prepared for a bit of a slow burn and try not to get frustrated when the author decides to take a detour into someone's tragic past. Moving on to our number 5, The Night King Who Returned with a God. Our main man is a Night King who has just returned to Earth after spending 300 years hunting demons in another world. But he didn't come back alone, he's brought a literal god with him. Now, the premise might sound a little generic on the surface. Another portal fantasy, another monster-infested modern world. But trust me, this one stands out from the crowd. The focus isn't on mindless gate grinding or power-ups, but on the protagonist's hilarious fish-out-of-water antics as he navigates our world with his over-the-top Night King persona. The art is gorgeous, the comedy is on point, and the central character is an absolute riot. Sure, the story might not be the most original, but when the execution is this good, who even cares? If you're looking for a fantasy manhwa that blends adventure, humor, and just a touch of the divine, the Night King who returned with the god is definitely one to check out. Number 4. I Kill the Academy Player. Our protagonist, Corin, is living the dream, getting to experience his favorite game from the inside as a character. Sure, he might just be a minor NPC, but with his intimate knowledge of the game, he and the main player, Sihu, are making things work smoothly. That is, until Corin realizes Sihu has been up to some seriously messed up stuff. Then, Corin gets sent 3 years back in time, and now he's determined to take Sihu down and become the hero himself. The protagonist is no wimpy pushover, the side characters are a refreshing bunch, and the action will have you on the edge of your seat. If you are craving a manhwa that's got it all, I Killed an Academy Player is definitely one to check out. Number 3. Mercenary Enrollment. Our protagonist, Lee Jin-yu, had a pretty rough childhood. After losing his parents in a plane crash, he had to survive as a child mercenary in a foreign land for 10 whole years. But now, he's back home in Korea, and he's ready to tackle his next mission, surviving as high school. Yup, you heard that right. This former child soldier has to live a teenage life. But if you think he's gonna let a bunch of rich, entitled brats push him around, you have got another thing coming. Ijin may be new to high school scene, but he's got martial skills that he's not afraid to use. Sure, the premise might sound a little silly on the surface, but trust me, this manhwa delivers. The action is top-notch, the comedy is on point, and Ijin is an absolute OP to follow. Number 2. Hardcore Leveling Warrior. Now, the premise is pretty simple. Our protagonist was once the most powerful player in a virtual reality game called Lucid Dreams. I'm talking level 99, unstoppable force of nature. But one day, he gets taken down by some mystery killer and finds himself all the way back at level 1. Ouch! So now, it's a race against time as he tries to claw his way back up to the top, making some unlikely friends along the way. And let me tell you, the journey is an absolute blast. We are talking insane fighting scenes, lovable characters, and more than a few gut-busting moments of comedy. Sure, the first 10 chapters or so might seem a little slow, but trust me, it gets way better from there. The story, the character development, it's all top-notch. If you're looking for a virtual reality manhwa that really stands out from the crowd, Hardcore Leveling Warrior is an absolute must-read. And finally, number 1, Swordmaster's youngest son. Our protagonist, Jin Run-Candle, was supposed to be the next head of his Swordmaster clan, but despite his best efforts, he just couldn't quite make the cut. That is, until he makes a deal with the god Solderet and suddenly finds himself free of the curse that was holding him back. But just when things were looking up, Jin meets an untimely end. Luckily, he gets a second chance. He wakes up as a baby, way before his original tragic fate, armed with some new powers and a renewed determination. Jin is ready to fulfill his destiny and become the ultimate swordmaster. Sure, the premise might not be the most original, and our protagonist can come across as a bit bland at times. But trust me, this manhwa still delivers the goods. The action is top-notch, the plot is engaging, and you can't help but root for Jin as he fights to defy his destiny. If you're craving a classic fantasy story with a twist, Swordmaster's youngest son is definitely one to check out. And there you have it, 10 manhwas that will have you reading late into the night. Did your favorite make the list? Or is there a hidden gem I need to check out? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button, share this with your fellow manhwa lovers, and smash that bell icon so you don't miss out on the next adventure. Until next time, happy reading.